Good. So I'm gonna go straight to Trading View and look at GU actually. So GU, I actually drew up this trade on Saturday, right? This is the 1 hour time frame. And I'm just gonna go out. What I've done here is we already know how to box in price, right? So if we go to the 4 hour time frame, we already know how to box in price in terms of identifying the recent trend line. Right. So you could see how I would have identified, the recent trend. You could see how I would have identified this uptrend coming up here, right? Now, what I would have done to understand what could possibly happen next is that the two blue lines that you see there is me basically identifying support and resistance, right? I'm going to just go ahead and remove those right now. And the trade would have been around this point on Sunday when I would have drawn up my charts, which a lot of you should be drawing up your charts on Sundays before the markets open. And what we want to do to build our story is understand the data that Forex is telling you. So yes, we have our price here boxed in. We identify the uptrend. We identify the uptrend, and then we identify the downtrend as well. So price is pretty much boxed in. Therefore, if it breaks any of these two based on the H4 time frame, then we know, okay, we're going to look for it to either go down to our daily trend line or below to show the continuation of the downtrend, or break above to go to our daily time frame above, trend line above as well. So what I want to do here is more or less understand whether or not price is going to go up, or if it's going to continue more or less for a sell. So I was looking to see if I could get GU for a sell. And what I want to do first is identify, after a boxed in price, identify major support and resistance areas, right? So first of all, if you look just by using your cursor, if you look where I have my cursor right now, you can see how price right here, you can see how price is basically respecting this point, right? So these are things that I want you guys to start to understand. It's just by looking at simple data that Forex is giving you, right? So you can see where I would have drawn my box, how price is basically coming down into this area and bouncing, right? So we have multiple touches of this area. So if this trade had to break my trend line, right, and continue to sell, like my take profit one would be in this area, in this box. This will be my take profit one. And the reason for that is when I look back, I can see how price comes into this area and keeps bouncing, right? So if I wanted to continue for the sell, I would need to see price actually breaking this this support anywhere around here, right? So I need to see price breaking it and retesting for the continuation. So I would more or less like to see price come here, go up, come down, retest, and then continuation to the downside, right? That's the type of movement that I would like to see. If price never breaks that support, then therefore for me, price likely to bounce and go back up, either to retest the trend line or to break above, right? So I want you guys to start to just don't enter a trade, don't just say, okay, you know what, bounce back calls a sell, or the signals group says to sell here and buy here, and you're just taking signals, right? We want to get you guys to understand how trading works, how Forex works, etc. Yes, we're here to help you. Guys, we give you a lot of signals during the day. You know, bounce back helps you, harmonic scanner helps you, but at the end of the day, you also need to help yourself, right? Because if we give you a signal, let's say that our signal is about 85% sure that it's gonna go that way, there's still, you know, there's still that percentage, you still got 15% that it could actually go the opposite direction. So for you, you need to actually analyze the trade yourself to see, okay, is it going to break to the downside? Is it going to buy? So the next thing I'm going to do is, this is where price was on Sunday, as I say up top here. So taking my box, what I want to do is identify again support and resistance, right? So I could see some resistance happening around here. Don't know if you guys picked it up, right? So I could see some resistance happening around this point. So when I come down to my 1 hour time frame, this is what I'm seeing, right? Now on Sunday, this move had already happened. We had come down and then we were on our way up, right? Now, when I come down to my 15-minute time frame, right? Now we already know that this is a resistance area. So if we wanted to get into this trade, I need to see rejection in this area if I wanted to get in as a sell. So I build in my case, right? I build in my case because you could have still gone in to, for a sell, for a short sell back to the trend line. As you can see, it hasn't hit the trend lines yet, but we're on our way there. So let's zoom in. Carry this around. And let's see what we have here at resistance. Now, if you guys have not yet read the Candlestick Bible, I advise you to, because you should now be looking for rejection candles in your resistance zone, right? So over here, this huge red candle and the green candle, prior to that, you can see that this is an engulfing candle. So that's our first you know, candles, rejection candlestick that would have pointed out to us, okay, you know, price is struggling to break our resistance, and it looks as if we're going to get that move back down, right? So what do I want to see from here? I want to see price breaking this area, right? So you can see price goes up, comes back down. Let me just outline it. Right. So you can see price comes up, comes back down, goes back up again, and then we break this area here because price came all the way down, right? Went back up, comes back down, testing this same area here again, right? So if I wanted to enter this trade, I want to enter this trade under this line. Let me just use a horizontal ray. I want to enter this trade anywhere under here, right? This is where I want to enter my trade. Anywhere under here and even under this support here as well. So in between these two areas here, this is where I want to enter, anywhere in between here or even under. So if you had said, okay, I could see price moving around in this area a lot, and it doesn't signal to me that price is ready for my sell. However, I can see the rejection at the resistance. So what I want now is for price to break that current range that is doing around the resistance area, right? So when price comes down and it goes back above, comes back down, what are we looking for around here? Another rejection candle, because price came back up and test this first support area that we would have identified. Now remember, you're trying to understand what's really happening, so you need to zoom in. Let's zoom in again, bring it around so we can see what's happening, right? So you can see how this is support. When it comes down is support, right? But we have a support area because price drops here and we tend to get this rejection and it goes back up. So if I really wanted to get into this trade, I want to get here when it breaks this entire area, right? So what do we have in this area now? at support equals resistance. We have another engulfing candle right here. So we got two rejection candles happening. So you had engulfing candle here at the top by absolute resistance, and then you have another engulfing candle here by this support that is actually now starting to push price below our support area. Right? So if I want to get into this trade, I want this to break my support with a solid body candle. Notice that when you look back, when this break support is only breaking support with a wick. So you don't have any confirmation of this area where price is actually ready for that sell, because we have a lot of exhaustion, which is the wicks that you see happening on this support area, right? So it's only here that we actually get a solid body closing at this support equals resistance area, right? So now this is resistance because price broke below, right? And now it came back up and retest our same area now as resistance. So now this is the time that I want to get into my trade, because I can see that price rejected this resistance zone. Then when I actually zoomed in to my miniature support and resistance around here, I can see a lot of exhaustion happening with these wicks, right? So I need now for a solid body candle to actually break, which I have gotten right here, right? So it's the same format as bounce back, where with a trend line, you need a solid body candle actually breaking your trend line to confirm whether or not we're going to go into a downtrend or uptrend. It's same thing with support and resistance. Because guys, when master traders, you know, any of us are actually trading, we build a case. We just don't look at a trade and say, oh, it got rejected from resistance, so let me jump in. No, right? You need to build a case around it. You guys need to create your checklist. 2 weeks ago, I went through with my team a checklist that they should have for every single trade that they want to get into. And if majority of that checklist is not they have not confirmed, then don't enter the trade, right? That's basically how, you know, the team is moving. And they want you guys to also have that type of checklist as well. You know, draw a trend line. Did it break? You know, boxing price. Can you identify a flag? And all of these are things that you need to build and tick as you're going to get into every trade, because every trade is not healthy. Every trade is not healthy for you to jump into, you know. Yeah, it might give you the opportunity, but if you can't identify certain things, you can't build your story around it, then don't enter the trade just because it can make you a little money, just because there's a possibility that it's going to go down, just because gold may impulse and go into a buy and you can make big bucks off it, doesn't mean that you should actually enter into the trade because of that, or because somebody just sent you a signal, right? We want to build a case around it. So what do we have here? We came down here now. We have the solid body candle right here that broke our support zone, right? So support has been broken, comes down and tests it as resistance. And what are we seeing from the buyers? We're not seeing any other candles actually breaking this zone with a solid body candle. Now we have wicks actually testing this zone. So this here is a money spot, right? This here is a money spot that we want to get into the trade, that we want to use to get into the trade. This is you getting into the trade at a discount price, right? You get into the trade, you could have held it for this time because you would have probably been in a range for quite some time. But majority of the time, if you have gone into the trade anywhere around here, majority of the time you would have been in and out of profit. Hardly any drawdown, if any at all. No, there was no drawdown. If you look, and you would have gone into trade here, you had zero drawdown, zero drawdown, literally, guys, right? And in a case like this, as you know, stop loss above the last high, you could have put your stop loss here. You could have come down to the 5-minute time frame and put your stop loss at the previous high on the 5-minute time frame. But if you want to play it safe, you could have put your stop loss above this last high here. And notice you did not get any type of drawdown. Price just range in profit around this point. until it was ready to break and continue to the downside here, right? So let's see, how many pips could you get in here? Let's just look. I usually tell the team, take profit 1, aim for 15 pips, and we just about got 20 pips just in that little drop, right? Just in that little drop. If you're a day trader, majority of your trades should be about 15, 20 pips, you know, or trail your stop loss. Or trail your stop loss. All right, so you're in this trade now, and you would have gone in here at the top here. No, we want to identify whether or not this trade is going to continue down, or if it's going to break now above and actually fake out and continue to the upside. So what do we need to do? We need to identify, similar to the previous entry that we had, we need to identify our support and resistance zone, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. So we need to identify support and resistance zone. I have a support zone right here. So let me just remove the previous ones so that we don't get confused, right? Right, so I have support here, right? And if I really look and zoom in on the trade, I also have support around here as well, right? Because this is where the trade is actually resting. So the trade is resting here, going sideways. We can see that this is a miniature support zone between here and here, right? This is where the trade is resting. So if I wanted to, when this trade comes back up here and I wanted to see whether or not I should be staying in this trade, I want to start to see exhaustion around this zone, right? Or if you had come out the trade because you would have hit your 15 to 20 pip goal, I want to see exhaustion in my resistance zone now, right? Because trade is actually below. So the trade came up here, right? And we see the first exhaustion candle. So we see a doji, which means indecision in the market, right? Okay, so all you need to do is follow what the trade is telling you, right? So you can see the sellers came down very weak. So we know we're not going to continue down with such a huge push, because if we're getting a huge push, it will start from resistance. If we're getting a huge push, it's going to start from resistance. If you see that from resistance or support and you want to sell or buy and you see that the candles are coming down very small, means that that move is not ready yet. That impulse is not ready yet, right? So trade comes back up to test resistance again. And what do we have here? Another engulfing candle. So you can see how powerful the engulfing candles actually are, because we would have identified 3 engulfing candles in the space of 2 days of trading GBP USD, right? So we have another engulfing candle here. And if we look back at history on Sunday, when we were talking about our engulfing candles, right? When we had that engulfing candle, what happened? Price just literally sunk, right? So we have another engulfing candle here at resistance now. And if we use this based on history, we will be expecting a huge drop, right? So you can see here, price came down, solid body candle. We can see the momentum of the sellers here. So we can see that the sellers actually took over the trade. So buyers don't have momentum on this trade anymore. What we have exhaustion now coming back up to test this resistance zone. So you can see that the buyers are now struggling with very small bodied candles and longer wicks, right? And then we get another drop. We get another drop. So this is where we want to get into the trade, when the buyers are coming back up and you can see that they're struggling. No, you can't actually see the body of the candle closing above resistance, right? So we're going to get into the trade around here. And how far do we drop? We drop another, if we have to come down where that has wicked, we drop another 20 pips, right? Twice we dropped another 20 pips in this range. So if you were going into this trade on a 15 to 20 pip take profit, you could have gotten your 15 to 20 pip in this drop. You could have gone your 15 to 20 pip in this drop, and you could have also came back here based on this. Look at this here again, right? We have this exhaustion here happening again at resistance, right? So based on this exhaustion here, you can see these wicks. You could have gone into this trade and gotten another 15 to 20 pip drop, right? Excuse me. So now let's finish off to see what price is now telling us. So we have a support zone here. This is very simple, guys. Very, very simple. All you're doing is identifying support and resistance. So we have another support zone around here, right? Price is resting here, going sideways. Price is resting here, going sideways as well. Let me clear the screen with you guys. Right? So let's clear the screen. So we've identified our support area again. So after price would have came up here and we have that another 15 pip drop. What is now happening at this support zone? Again, we have no body, we don't have the body of the candles closing in this support zone. We're just getting a lot of exhaustion, right? So we're getting a lot of exhaustion happening on here. When we go up to a higher time frame, we're actually starting to head towards our trend line. So all of this is cases that you guys can build to identify where the trade is likely to go to next, right? For me, this trade is heading towards our for our trend line. And that's how you want to start to identify whether or not this is a trade that is healthy, whether or not this is a trade you want to get into. Like you guys could have literally just traded one pair yesterday, GBP USD, and you would have gotten about 60 pips from it based on what I would have identified, 320 pip drops. Based on you identifying your resistance zone, you already had price boxed in, and all you're doing now is looking for rejection, right? Wait for it to break your support area and retest with exhaustion candles, so some wicks, right, on lower time frames, and then make your move, right? Get in on the money spots when you retest resistance with wicks. When you see that the buyers are actually struggling to carry price any higher, you want to start to look to get into resistance. And given that I was on the topic last week of using the moving averages, let's look here as well. You had the moving average actually cross on our support zone, on our support equals resistance zone, right? We talked about using the 5 and 9 moving average. Well, it crossed here, right here, to confirm that drop again, that 20 pip drop. It crossed right here because we had this area here as a support and resistance zone, right? I had this previously drawn up. If you use the moving averages, you can see how it actually crossed here as well to confirm for you to get that 15 to 20 pip trade. And previously, the first trade that we were looking at, right? First trade that we were looking at, you would have seen that you had the cross just before we had this drop, this continuation, right? So you can see how the moving averages are actually moving in sync with the trade. You can see how you can use the moving averages at support and resistance to see how is it moving in sync. Is it respecting your trade idea? You're seeing a sell. Is the moving averages showing you that for an entry? So these are things that you can use to identify in conjunction with the MACD. That's right. Right? So the moving averages, really, really handy. Understanding support and resistance, really good when you're drawing up, when you even having your trend lines, even on bounce back. Just zoom in a little bit, guys. Understand what the trade is telling you. This is not difficult. It's not rocket science. All it takes is just a little practice. That's all you guys need to do is practice. Rather than going home and watching TV, Take out your laptop and say, you know what, let me practice support and resistance zones, you know, within my trends, right? You already have that boxed in, you already have your trend lines drawn. Let me draw this resistance zone and let me see how price reacts in this area. Do I get a break and retest? And then a continuation. So all of this is things that you guys should use to build your case in Forex, right? You keep jumping onto the calls, you keep plugging in. I'm telling you guys, and you go home and you practice this, you would realize that you're becoming better traders. The numbers for the moving average is 5 and 9. So the 5 EMA and the 9 EMA, moving average exponential. You're welcome. All right, guys. So hopefully today was useful. I've recorded this call so you can go ahead and rewatch it in your own spare time. And please, please, please practice. Practice, practice, practice. If you want to become better traders, if you want more profits, if you want to, you know, even outrank your own upline and stuff like that, you guys need to be putting in the work. Work twice as hard than they are working. That's what you need to do. All right. So guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. And I hope you guys have a pitful day. And I will see you on Thursday. Take care.